If I could put all of you, if I could take you in my back pocket and carry you all the time with me, believe me, I would. Because actually, those of us who are in the world of media, especially in the world of independent media, those of us who are women of color, those of us who are Latinas, those of us who are Mexican-born, it's a challenging time. It's a challenging time out there. So to come and see this is the reason why I keep doing it. Because it's like, okay, I'm not alone. I know I was alone at this interview today, and it felt really not so good because she was really avoiding all of my questions, and really she should be answering them. And I think that today, especially today, it's this feeling of, wow, the most vulnerable people who have everything to lose are prepared to share with me their story because they're whistleblowers and they're telling the truth, even if they don't have papers, but they're telling the truth and they have lived through it with their lives. And yet, the people who have power feel like they can say things like, I've got 30 minutes for you. I've got to go. I can't answer that question. And so when you're doing deep journalism like this, it's those people who put everything on their lines to tell us the truth that we honor. And so when I'm out there alone and I'm feeling like, oh my God, how can I do this? What did I just see? Because you know what, when you see these things, they become a part of you. When you go into a detention center, okay, a week ago, and you find people who have been held for 10 days, who were chosen by the government to speak to me. And for 10 days, they have been held without seeing a lawyer or a judge or anyone explaining to them why they're there. A week ago in our country. And there was no drinking water that was free except what came through the faucet in the open bathroom, where you now have to sit in a toilet, next to a toilet, next to a toilet, no walls, and do what you have to do with a bunch of strangers, and you're not a criminal. You're not a criminal. That's what's happening in our country today. So, telling those stories are very hard. Telling those stories is very hard to do right now. Very hard. In the mainstream media, in networks, sometimes some of us have to leave. And then, those of us in the public media have to watch the very public battles. And it's hard. And it can be really, it can break your heart. But, compañerita, the fact that you would, I mean, you totally blew my, no one has ever, and I know my daughter would be like, Mom, we don't want you to be like Frida because she's got the unibrow, and no, we don't want it. And by the way, you know, who told me to tell my daughter that it was okay for her to wax her unibrow? Justice Sonia Sotomayor, okay, who I was talking to in her chambers, you know, as she's getting makeup for her first on-camera interview, and I'm talking to her about, you know, my daughter, and my daughter wanting to wax her eyebrows, and she's just like, let her. How can you, how? No, imposible. So I had to go tell my daughter, you can do it. But for you to tell me that I am like a Frida, I know what you mean. And that has, you have just like blown my mind. So thank you, because I needed that. You know, when I tell these stories over and over again, I am told by letters, by emails, by phone calls, by everything, that I have an agenda. And that's why for you to say you have an we are here to celebrate the opportunity agenda means so much to me, Alan and company. Thank you so much. Because they say I have an agenda. Because they know that I was born in Mexico. I've never denied it. I'm proud of it. They also know that I've become an American citizen by choice. And so I was, in fact, given that honor by Secretary Janet Napolitano, who handed it to me. You're an outstanding American by choice. And she heard me as I said that our responsibility as new citizens is to question our government and to question those in power at every turn. And I told them, I'm watching the time, I've got 1 more minute. I told them that when I came, you know, when I would cross the border back and forth legally, con papeles, okay? But every year we would drive from Chicago to Mexico, all 6 of us in the station wagon, and I would see the media in Mexico, and then I'd come back and I'd be standing next to my television set right up here, and I'd be watching Ed Bradley or Bill Moyers or Dan Rather tell stories. And I remember watching 60 Minutes and saying, that's what journalists do in this country. That's what democracy looks like. That's what it looks like. And never in my wildest sueños did I ever think that I would end up in front of that microphone, because I never imagined that I could, and never thought, because of the fact that I never saw myself, that I was good enough to do it. And something just, I guess it was my mom who just always just made me believe if she could do what she did, then so can I. And so it is our responsibility as journalists to push that envelope. And it is lonely, but I know that I have you. And when I'm there asking questions to Sheriff Joe Arpaio or to an ICE official appointed by our very president, who is proud to recite that the highest numbers ever of deportations and detentions are under the presidency of Barack Obama. And so when in those moments, I am not nervous. I am you, and you are me. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.